Welcome to your favorite podcast, 1000 African Voices, broadcasting from an African perspective. 1000 African Voices is a program aimed at breaking down the boundaries that divide us as a continent, the boundaries that divide our beautiful people. You can also find the show on iTunes or wherever you get your podcast by searching for 1000 African Voices. Our website address is 1000africanvoices.com. We are calling this series Africa's Future Reimagined, where we demystify what the fourth industrial revolution means for our beautiful continent. You will hear views on cybersecurity, Internet of Things, cloud computing, chatbots, blockchain, etc. What do all these things mean for Africa? For those who enjoyed the first series titled Taking Africa to the World, where we spoke to influential Africans, fear not, this series will still have some of those elements. Your hosts are Avurengwi and Witumelo Muneedi. Welcome.
1000 African Voices.
100 voices down, 900 to go. We started the show on the 18th of November 2017. It's now March 2020 and we have done 100 voices. The episode that you're going to listen to, it's really a special episode where we look back at some of the guests that we have had, but we also look forward in trying to unpack what voice 101 to 200, what those voices will look and feel like. In the 100 voices that we've covered up to now, I thought we'll take just some time to point out some of the voices that have had a massive impact on myself, on our listeners, just judging by maybe the number of downloads or some of the comments that we have received on 1000africanvoices.com. And throughout this episode, you're going to hear voices, or some of the voices that you already know, the likes of Emmanuel Yegon from Nairobi, Kenya, Shalom Nyandiko, who's the most downloaded voice of all time. She lives in South Africa, but she's of Kenyan descent. We'll also have Ochiel, who we spoke to live from Kenyatta University. Amy at the time was living in Nairobi. She has moved to Eldoret, also in Kenya. And we'll also go to eSwatini in Southern Africa to talk to Gciniwe Fakudze, who has really since become a friend of the show. And as we go into the next chapter of this show, you're going to hear new voices. You will hear more and more the voice of Gciniwe Fakudze as she comes in and out as a guest host from time to time, whenever time allows. You have already, in the last 6-7 voices, you've had Witumelo Muneedi, who's our writer, but also our co-host. The voice that you haven't really had, but it's a voice or a personality that has been critical, and I cannot overstate the significance that Mr. Jones Maleka, the significant role that he has played in ensuring that the show keeps going. So be a shout out to you, Jones Maleka, our head researcher and scheduler. Without you, Jones, this show will not be possible. And of course, our sound engineer, Sam Ganich, who continues to amaze. So Sam, big up. Thank you. And as I said again, you will hear voices as we try and refresh the work that we do. We have focused for the last 2.5 years. We focused primarily on sort of a biographical take on the different people across the continent. As we move into our new chapter, you'll see that we have updated the logo, the theme songs. Everything feels fresh, at least I hope it does. But what we really want to focus on is what the fourth industrial revolution means for the African continent. So we will sort of change the nature of the conversation to really try and unpack what that means for us. what is this world of robotics? What's this world of AI? What is machine learning? What does it really mean for the people of Africa and those in the diaspora? Does it mean the same thing here as it does in, say, the US of A or China or Europe? I don't know. We will find out from our voices. So again, if I can just quickly go through some of the voices that we've had. I mean, the first voice, fittingly, Evita Situma, Kenya, South Africa, Tanzania. Evita was pivotal in the formation of 1,000 African Voices. A conversation with her over drinks led to the birth of this concept that we call 1,000 African Voices. So it is fitting that Evita, Eve, is the first voice, female, Eve. Okay, hopefully you can connect the dots. Third voice, we had Damilola Oluwatoyinbo from Lagos. One of my favorite episodes was episode 4, Robert Katende, on whose life the movie The Queen of Katwe is based. Then we had the 8th voice, Ntsiki Mazwai from South Africa, poet and musician. Then voice 11, J. Mawaka-Smith. Even after 100 voices, he remains the guy with the coolest name, J. Mawaka-Smith. And then we went to voice 14, Muto Dineshe, an actor trained in the States, lives in South Africa. And then we had the irrepressible Dr. Pearl Kupe, Zimbabwe, Botswana, South Africa. I really would encourage those that have not had Dr. Pearl Kupe, I'll encourage you to really go and listen to that. It's absolutely amazing. Then we had Euphonic, voice 24th. Euphonic is a very popular world-class DJ based in Johannesburg, South Africa. One of the most influential Africans, young Africans on the continent, voice 26, Prince Akbar, all the way from Accra, Ghana. And then the 30th voice, we had Vinolia Mabele, who was at the time the United or Miss United Nations. She has since gone on to do great things. I believe she's now into acting, voiceover work, etc. So yeah, it's how we do it on 1,000 African Voices. We're going to continue, but at this point, I want to maybe just pause and play some of my favorite songs, African songs. I'll play 3-4 songs throughout the episode just to celebrate our artists, because after all, this is a celebratory episode. So I'm going to pause here. We'll see you on the other side after this song. Enjoy.
Bwana ni mwokozi wangu, tena ni kiongozi wangu, ananipenda leo kuliko jana, baraka zake hazikuishi, si kama binadamu abadilikie, ananipenda leo kuliko jana, kuliko jana. Sinakuomba Mungu uwasamehe, wangalijua jinsi unavyonipenda.
The song you just heard is by Sauti Sol called Kuliko Jana, featuring the Red 4th chorus. So yeah, that's the first song. The number of Kenyan guests that we've had on the show, it's incredible. So yeah, big ups to you, Kenya. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the love. Nairobi, big ups, Eldoret. We see you there, Emmy, doing great things. So yeah, it's fitting that we have a group from Kenya, Sauti Sol, one of Africa, if not the world's leading groups. So yeah, big ups to Kenya.
All right, so we will be talking to 5 of our favorite voices from Series 1, that's voices 1 to 100. We have Emmanuel Ochiel and Emmanuel Yegon from Kenya. We have Shalom Nyandiko, who lives in South Africa but is of Kenyan descent. We have from eSwatini, Gciniwe Fakudze. And lastly, we'll have the 11th voice, Mawaka-Smith from the UK, but born in Zimbabwe. But I thought the one person that we really need to talk to is our listener number 1, Mr. Gcobani Schalk from the Eastern Province or Eastern Cape Province in South Africa. Hey, Schalk.
Hey, Aburenga, how you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm good.
Maybe just to do a quick intro, who is Gcobani Schalk in the context of 1,000 African Voices?
Oh, Gcobani Schalk is just a regular guy, a huge fan of the show. Listen to all 100 episodes. Yeah, I'm just a guy whose the ideas of the show were bumped off. So yeah, that's me.
Okay, then it must be some kind of Guinness record. I've listened to all 100 episodes. Between you and our head researcher, Mr. Jones Maleka, we probably need to apply for that Guinness World Record. Anyway, so Schalk, maybe what are some of the things that you remember from the first 100 voices? What stands out for you?
I think the biggest thing for me is the idea that was put in my head that, you know, you can hear a story from a girl from Tanzania or a guy from Ethiopia, you know, being just a guy in the western part of South Africa. To me, that's been amazing, you know, to be able to hear a voice of an Ethiopian girl telling you about her dreams, her aspirations, and to be inspired by someone from that far, you know, that's been the most amazing thing. Because normally you hear these stories of people from foreign countries. To be told a story, you know, of Africans in the most remote places has been quite a remarkable thing.
No, I agree. And I remember when you and I were coming up with this idea of doing a podcast in Africa, I mean, 2017, it's still bad in 2020 where the podcasting thing is not really taking off, but it was much worse in 2017. But we spoke about it and we felt that we could actually make it work. So to look back, having done 100 voices has been incredible. But maybe let's talk a bit about some of your favorites or some of your more memorable voices. Do you have maybe 3-4 voices that have sort of made an impression on you so that we can revisit some of those discussions?
The very first episode was a sort of a dream come true because, you know, for me, a story was realized of the idea of telling an African story was realized. So that very, very first episode was the most amazing thing.
That's Evita Situma. I love that her name is Evita or Eve for short, and she was the first, not only the first, but the first female, etc. And she has lived in Tanzania, Kenya, South Africa, as well as Europe. Like, this is like the quintessential person that we want to talk to. So yeah, I agree with you there. And the second one?
Well, I won't put it in any particular order, so I'll just go on top of my head. I listened to Euphonic, the episode of DJ Euphonic. I'm used to listening to celebrities going on interviews and how they always tell you what they think you want to hear. You know, listening to that episode of DJ Euphonic was inspiring, you know, was refreshing, was different from what you normally hear from celebrity interviews, you know. So that was also one of my very favorites.
You know, for Euphonic to give us 40 minutes of his time, I mean, he's one of the busiest DJs on the continent. For him to be that gracious with his time, but equally as forthcoming with information to maybe paint a different picture of what being a celebrity is about, what it takes to reach the levels that he has. That was a phenomenal episode for me. So yeah, to DJ Euphonic, incredible guest. I enjoyed that as much as you're saying you did, Skal.
Yeah, another one, I think, this one is actually because there was a mention of me in it. Very, very small mention. I was a trainer, a physical trainer. I'm sorry about this. I forgot her name, but that was fun.
Z?
Very comfortable. I kind of like the rapport between you guys, between the both of you. It was nice and comfortable. So at every episode is always like I always remember an episode by where I was when I was listening to it, and I remember that episode very well because it was very early in the morning. I was driving with a car full of people, and everyone was completely silent. We were listening to it. It was really, really nice episode, very comfortable.
I think it's the Fitness Junkie. Forgot the episode number, but it's Z. It was amazing. She's so fit, and the energy comes through in the episode. So yeah, I agree. Masango is her last name. It was an incredible episode.
And also, I saw the pictures. They kind of complimented the episode. Very beautiful person.
All right, so it was voice 64, Fitness Junkie Zinhle Masango, and she gave us free lessons on how to be fit and how to live a very disciplined life. All right, are there any more voices that you remember? And suppose we remember, you and I will remember all the voices, but maybe some more so than others.
Yeah, but I think my favorite by far was Robert Katende from Uganda. His story has been told over and over. I was just amazed by someone who has done so much in life, who was nice enough and down to earth enough to come over, tell his story. Like, this guy has been telling his story in different platform on CNN and all these big stations, but he was nice enough to sit down and tell his story to 1,000 African voices. So that was a big favorite of mine. I think that it's one of my number one favorites, Mr. Robert Katende.
On the day, I didn't have access to the studio, so I had to make a plan. And I remember I was sitting in a dining room, and I still remember, even the goosebumps do come back when you recall him saying, "My name is Robert Katende." And I had just watched the movie, The Queen of Katwe, the movie that's based on Robert's life. And yeah, I was amazed at the story. It's really as close as I've gotten to coming to tears during a recording. So yeah, episode 4, Robert Katende, Uganda, Kampala. And if you have not listened to episode 4, please do that. But also do yourself a favor, gather the kids around at home and watch the movie, The Queen of Katwe. It's an incredible story of humanity. All right, Schalk, so we've done 100 voices. I don't know if you had any other voices you wanted to touch on, but we've done 100. Now we're going to 101 to 200. And we want to focus our energy a bit more on maybe the technological side of things without losing touch with the people of Africa, which is really what makes 1,000 African Voices what it is. What are your expectations or wishes as we do the next 100? I mean, to do 1,000 African Voices will take us anything between 8 and 10 years. But for the next batch of 100, do you have any wishes or suppose hopes, any guidance that you can provide, as you always do?
It's just to keep going. What is important about this whole series is that the stories that were told in the first episode by Evita, are still relevant today. These episodes are in such a way that you can listen to an episode 5 years after it was made and still feel like it's relevant on the day. So my hope is that we continue making these amazing stories, telling these amazing stories that Africa can achieve so much more. Africa can do a lot more, as a continent. It's just a time where we start seeing our continent in brighter lights, not the way the rest of the world is seeing it.
No, I absolutely agree. And I mean, that's why we need to talk about the impact of the fourth industrial revolution on the African continent. And we will do exactly that. We will find people that are on the frontier or the forefront of the tech world. We're going to go to Ethiopia. We'll go to Rwanda. We'll talk to Kenyans. Nigeria is quite big when it comes to technology, and we will go down south to South Africa. But in between all of those tech personalities, we will continue to talk to the likes of Robert Gatende, because, I mean, from the beginning, Africa has always been the continent of humanity. So we're not going to lose that. But yeah, Schalk, thank you for doing this again. And thank you for continuing to be the sounding board, the strategist. Every decision that we make on 1000 African Voices, we have not made a single decision without brainstorming it. So I personally do value the contribution that you have made to 1000 African Voices. So yeah, do continue to support. And it's great that our listeners finally get to hear from your voice, someone who's always been in the background, but shaping the direction of 1000 African Voices. So yeah, big ups and thank you very much.
Oh, thank you very much, Aburengwi.
Awesome. Welcome back. So voices 37 and 38, Gciniwe Fakudze and Emmanuel Yegon, as I said earlier, you will be hearing from those voices later on. Then we had voice 44, DJ Zinhle, the queen of DJs, one of the most popular DJs on the continent. And she was shortly followed by the South African Idol's champion or winner 2018, Yanga Sobetwa. For one so young, amazing interview. Then we went to Accra, went back to Accra, Ghana to speak to Mr. George Mensa Britton. He continues to do big things. If you've not heard of George Britton, you really should Google the name George Mensa Britton. You will be amazed. Voice 52, Mark Angel, the comedian with over 3.5 million subscribers on YouTube, all the way from Nigeria. As always, he brought the energy, he brought the fun, and we got to really know how one ends up becoming a YouTube sensation. Voice 54, Shalom Nyandiko Joseph. She was 13 at the time. She's at least a year older now. Her episode remains the most downloaded. I wish I knew why, because so that we could replicate that. But yeah, she remains the most downloaded voice. Then we went to North Africa, voice 59. We spoke to Nassim Hekat, who's an expert in marketing and brand management, again, all the way from Algeria. Voice 61, Habib Shabib from Niamey, Niger, based in China. Fascinating story. And then voice 64, one of my favorite episodes so far, Zinhle Masango, a fitness junkie who is just amazing. If you want free lessons on fitness, go and listen to voice 64. Then we go to voice 69, Mofe Bamuyiwa, a Nigerian photographer who captured a picture that is widely regarded as having the most beautiful girl in the world. Just go to Google and type the most beautiful girl in the world. That picture was taken by Mofe Bamuyiwa. And then voice 75, we went again to Nigeria. The singer behind the hit song Where Maradona, Niniola, graced our show. Amazing interview. She is absolutely incredible. For voice 77, we went down south to Zimbabwe and spoke to Vimbaishe Muzwaburi, an activist and someone who considers herself the future president of Zimbabwe. Then voice 80, Kerry Soldo from Johannesburg. She's a business coach and entrepreneur. And then we had Veda Sunasif, a citizen of the Mauritius island. Beautiful, beautiful interview. Really learned a lot in that interview about business, education, and where we are as a continent. Then we went to the Netherlands to meet Jimmy Nelson, a photographer, a TED speaker, a motivational speaker as well. Amazing. You should see the pictures that Jimmy Nelson takes. Just type Jimmy Nelson portraits. Incredible. I cannot encourage you any more than that to go and take a look. Then we went to Mogadishu, Somalia, to speak to Mohamed Bashir, the founder of Daos Creative Design Agency. And I really enjoyed that. We got to understand what happens in Somalia from the perspective of someone who is there as opposed to watching it on CNN or BBC. So Mohammed really took us into the world or the country that is Somalia. And lastly, I must give a special mention to Zola Nene, celebrity chef, author, food stylist from Cape Town. Amazing, amazing, amazing. So those are maybe some of the voices that we have covered. Again, I would encourage those that have not heard them, go to 1000africanvoices.com and just take a listen. We'll see you on the other side of the following song. Hopefully you enjoy it as much as I do. All the songs, we've done the first, this is the second. All the songs will be by amazing African artists. So take it away.
I don't charge my energy, I no get time for no enemy. You reap to me. Nothing with person never see. I'm on nothing with person never see. Forget it, I say bashi. Money soon expected. Take our body, I jump. I take her to the person. Je. I'm in the answer, then yes sir. Then I'm in the answer, yes sir. Respect is reciprocal, even though una know say I special. Anybody, when no one to search it. Anybody, when no the carry body. I can't something, I can't something. Go back to fele, I can't something. You want job, but you never function because myself I never talk.
Wow, so that was the second song, and this time it is by Burna Boy from Nigeria, and the title of the song is called Anybody. The song has got millions and millions of views on YouTube. Burna Boy, of course, being one of the continent's biggest exports. He is a global superstar. So shout out to you, Nigeria. Shout out to you in Lagos. The people of Nigeria have been very supportive. On this show, we've got at least 8 Nigerian guests, starting from the third voice, that of Damilola Oluwantoyinbo. It's been an incredible ride. So to the people of Nigeria, I really appreciate the support that you have given the show. So as I began to navigate the world of podcasting, there's one voice or one personality that has been more helpful than they actually realized. The host of the African Tech Roundup, Andile Masuku, who had been in the industry for much longer than I had been in 2017. And his podcast remains not only one of my favorite podcasts to listen to, but it is one of the best podcasts, in my opinion, that you can find anywhere. So big ups to Andile Masuku. You've always been so gracious, so forthcoming with whatever information or guidance that I needed as we were shaping the 1000 African Voices project. So Andile Masuku, and I really would like to encourage our listeners, go check it out. Check what Andile does. You will be amazed. So maybe just to honor Andile, he lives in South Africa, but I know he's quite passionate about his native country of Zimbabwe. So how can we play music on this episode and not play anything by the legendary Oliver Mtukudze? And perhaps fittingly, the song that we've chosen, Neria, this version features a Ladysmith Black Mambazo. The year 2020 saw the passing of Joseph Shabalala, who's been really the leader of the group. So yeah, let's pay homage to Oliver Mtukudze, Ladysmith Black Mambazo, Neria. Enjoy.
Neria, Neria, wo, Zaore moyo kaneria, Maria newe. Zaore moyo kaneria, Maria newe. Maria newe kaneria, Maria newe. Kuvirwa ne murume angat, zinona moyo we kushinga. Zaore moyo kaneria, Maria newe. Zaore moyo kaneria, Maria newe. Maria newe kaneria, Maria newe.
Season clubbing, alusaketi nantandane.
All the way from Eldoret, Kenya, enjoy the voice of Emmanuel Ochiel, who's doing bigger things from the last time we spoke to her. So I hope you enjoy the following conversation just as much as I did. There's so much to learn from Amy, and she's not even 25. Yeah, let's get into it.
How are you?
I am good. How are you?
I'm fine. Nice to hear from you after a very long time.
How is Nairobi?
I'm actually moved from Nairobi.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, I moved. I'm in another town I'm still in Kenya. It's called Eldoret. It's in the North Rift part, the northern side of Kenya.
Isn't that where the runners come from?
Yes. I see you know us very well.
No, there's a book I read a few years ago called Running with the Kenyans or Keeping Up with the Kenyans, something like that.
Okay.
They talk a lot about Eldoret.
Yes, Eldoret. We actually say this is the home of champions.
Okay. So I suppose it makes you one of the champions now. Eh?
Yes, but I'm not running.
Maybe staying there will make you run a bit.
No, I don't like running.
It's funny.
Yeah, truth be told.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not from Kenya, we tend to think every Kenyan person runs.
I know it's certain regions. If you go to the coastal region, you'll not even get people who love running at all. Yeah, mostly it's the northern part. This North Rift part. Yes, this is where you find most of the people who have been socialized in a way that, running is the main thing here.
And for you, I mean, when you see people winning, do you maybe ever feel like, man, I think I should take up running as well to become famous?
Yes. Yeah, even when Kipchoge won, Eliud, I mean, when he beat that record, so we were so happy. Hey, there was even I think 1,000 people gathered at some place, and they were watching through the billboard, and it was a very historical moment in this side. The whole of Kenya, but yeah. Yeah, so at that time I was like, I should consider running. But I just realized that is just not me. Yeah, it's just not me.
The Kipchoge sub 2 hour marathon run was, I know you say it was big in Kenya, but I can promise you that it was big everywhere else. Because it didn't matter whether you were from Kenya or Africa, we were just celebrating what the human spirit can do.
True. Actually, Kenyans should stop saying it was a Kenyan thing. Actually, this was a global affair.
It was a global affair indeed. So, and
Yeah,
well
I
done
fucking cried.
You cried.
Yeah, tears of joy. Hey, our fingers were crossed because we were like, hey, okay, if this guy doesn't beat this 2 hour, as in we'll just be the laughing stock of the whole world. So we were like, this guy better win. I saw everything glued to the screen. Yeah.
No, lovely. I was trying to remember, Emmy. So we spoke, I think it was in 2019.
Yes.
I remember we recorded our conversation using Skype, and for some reason, something went horribly wrong. And I remember thinking, oh no, I really need to capture Emmy's voice, but now I don't want to ask her to redo this thing. So I'm going to apologize by flying all the way to Nairobi to interview her. That's what I remember.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. It was a very good experience.
What was the name of the university where we sat? I was trying to remember it this morning.
Kenyatta University.
Kenyatta University, and it was a Yali gathering of sorts?
Yeah, the Yali Regional Leadership Center, East Africa.
Oh, lovely. And since then, Emmy, what have you been up to?
Oh, since then, I moved to Eldoret town, where I work with Transparency International Kenya. I guess you know about it, Transparency International.
Yes, I do. But maybe for our listeners, it's worth just explaining what the Transparency International organization does.
Okay, so Transparency International Kenya is a chapter of the Global Transparency International that basically deals with fighting corruption. The vision is the vision for the Transparency International Kenya is to ensure that we have a corruption-free Kenya. So basically, we deal with ways in which we can end corruption. And so I'm based in the North Rift office in Kenya. And here, basically, what I do, I deal with provision of legal aid to our clients, to members of the community. And I'm also dealing with implementation of projects. Yeah, so basically, that is what I do. I mostly interact with people in the rural areas, and so that we can help them to access justice and also ways in which we can end corruption at the grassroots level. So basically, that's what I do under Transparency International. Also, currently, I'm actively involved in the reviewing of the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action under UN Women. So this declaration basically composes of commitments that were made by governments to ensure that we empower women and we ensure there's gender equality. So currently, we are doing the 25th review of this declaration. So that's what I'm also doing currently. Yes, and I also went back to school. Yes.
Oh, what are you studying?
So currently I'm studying an advanced diploma in project management, and I'm also doing a certification in monitoring and evaluation. Yes.
I mean, the first time we spoke, I thought, geez, so much energy. She's doing so many things at the same time. A year later, you seem to be doing a lot more than what you were doing back then. Where does all this energy, the passion come from?
I'm really passionate about empowering the community, especially gender and social inclusion related issues. There's something Maya Angelou said that my crown was paid for. So that means there's someone within a group of people in the previous generations who actually fought for me to enjoy the kind of freedoms that I enjoy right now. So it's up to me right now to also pay for the crown of the next generation. And that's why I keep on going, so that 25 years from now, perhaps when we'll be doing the Beijing review plus 50, there'll be a girl somewhere who will say that they actually benefited from this movement and our advocacy for ensuring there's gender equality and women empowerment. So basically, my main motivation is just to ensure that every girl, every woman is empowered. And even as we do projects, we implement in a way that is responsive to the issues that are affecting women and girls, and that we have a better world for women and girls. Yes.
There are people listening to this now thinking, gee, I think she's been in this industry for maybe 20, 25 years. So maybe it's worth just clarifying that the last time we spoke, I think you were 23, if memory serves.
Yes.
Yes. You're now 24, eh?
Yeah, I'm 24. I'm turning 25 in 2 weeks. March 6th is my birthday. Yes, I'm turning. Okay. Yes, I'm actually about to reach my mid-20s.
25, that is a big deal. So I'm sure by the time this episode comes out, the birthday would have passed. But happy birthday as you turn 25. You've already been through quite a lot, and it's clear that you deeply care about making a difference in the lives of not only Kenyans, but across the African continent. I think you're one of those voices that are worth being listened to. And that's why I wanted to just catch up with you to find out where you are, but also ensure that as we, as 1000 African Voices, as we celebrate 100 episodes since October 2017, we just touch base with 5, 6 of the voices that have really left a lasting impact on us. So thank you for being who you are.
Thank you so much, and congratulations for reaching 100 young, phenomenal Africans. Yes.
No, thank you. I'm actually, to be honest, quite chuffed. You wake up one day and you say, we need to do a podcast and we need to talk to people from across Africa. And as you're thinking about the idea, it's really difficult to see how it's going to go. Looking back now, almost 3 years into the conversation, you think, man, I'm so glad we did this, because through this, we got to meet the likes of Emmy. We got to know more about Kenya, Nigeria, Malawi, etc. It's been such a wonderful ride. And that's why we're celebrating the 100 Voices.
Awesome. Yes, it's actually very important. Yeah, and congratulations once again.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, Emmy, as I said, I just wanted to touch base for just a brief moment. So I'm glad you took our call. And perhaps before we say goodbye, are there things maybe you want to say, a message you want to share with the listeners, especially young kids from anywhere in Africa and suppose in the diaspora, if you have any words of wisdom?
What I will say is that, first of all, Africa is beautiful. Africans are very phenomenal, and we need to embrace our diversity, be proud of our diversity. Their human rights are important and that they are actually valued. Move from just tolerating diversity to actually embracing diversity. And let's ensure that everyone is on board. And Africa is just, I don't know how to put it, it's just a very phenomenal place, and we're very phenomenal people. And let's also learn our history so that even as we advocate for a better Africa, we advocate for it from an informed point of view. Yes.
What a lovely place to stop. Just before this conversation, I was talking to my son, and he was saying to me, what is the point of learning history? So he's doing his homework, and I had to stop whatever I was doing to explain to him the importance of understanding history, because he's still young. He cares more about the future and doesn't think he needs to learn about the past. But I actually enjoyed sitting down with him to make him understand that we are who we are today because of the history that we have. Because without that, you're nothing. And if you don't understand your history, then I suppose we are all doomed. Yeah.
Yes, it's important to learn African history. And African history is very beautiful. and the diversity just makes the whole learning experience very awesome. So it's important that we learn our history, be proud of our history, and we embrace our history and choose to change now the narrative as we make our history better. Yes.
On that note, our former 23rd voice, Ochiel Ochieng, then of Nairobi, now of Eldoret, turning 25 in the year 2020. I wish you all the very best. I'm so glad to see that your career is progressing at a very fast pace. And I'm glad that is happening because your voice again deserves to be heard. But yeah, from me and from all of us on the 1000 African Voices team, we wish you all the very best. And yeah, again, thank you for joining us again.
Thank you so much. Thank you and all the best.
Cheers, Emmy. Take care. Okay, that was Omi Ochiel. As we celebrate 100 voices, again, we are inviting those that have had the biggest impact in the first 2.5 years. And one of those has been the one and only Shalom Nyandiko, who joins us maybe just to talk about the experience that she had when she came on 1000 African Voices, but more importantly, to understand what she's up to now, almost a year later. Hi, Shalom.
Hello.
Good to have you again. What have you been up to?
School and shooting something. Right now I'm shooting something, but mostly school.
Okay, you're busy shooting something and you're not allowed to tell us, eh?
No, not yet.
Okay. Now we will wait with bated breath until something comes out. So it's been about a year since we spoke. And the reason we wanted to talk to you again was, for whatever reason, your episode remains the most downloaded episode of all time on 1000 African Voices. So congratulations for having made a big impact.
Thank you so much.
I wish I knew why, though, the episode was so loved so that we could replicate that. Do you have any idea why people cannot get enough of you?
Probably, I don't know, publicity. Because of the Widow, especially, was a very big show with like famous actors and actresses. So that's probably how they found me and the whole episode and everything.
Yeah, and maybe the singing did not hurt. I remember you sang a song by Callum Scott.
Yes.
It's called You Are the Reason. So that's what I remember. I remember us talking about, I think, you loving Friends. At the time, you had just started watching Friends.
Yes.
And you mentioned that you like The Big Bang Theory. What are you watching currently? What's new?
I haven't really been watching anything. Like, since then, I've been very stuck on school and I've barely had any time to watch TV. I don't even remember the last time I watched TV.
Really? Wow. Okay. What grade are you in?
Grade 10 right now. I just started. Oh, I'm watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I just remembered.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Tell us more. I haven't watched it. What is it about?
It's about like cops. It's like more of a comedy than like a serious show, but it's like about cops in New York, I think. I haven't been watching it for too long. So yeah, then there's 2 cops. Yeah, those are like the 2 main ones. And then they're like, in the first episodes, they have like a streak going on for like who gets the most crime solved and everything. So yeah, that's basically where I am now, but it's like really funny. It's my favorite show, like ever.
I'm looking at it now. So as I said, I haven't watched it, but I'm just going through some of the rating websites. So I'm on Rotten Tomatoes and it's showing that the show has a 97% approval rating. That is very, very high. You seem to have good taste.
Thank you.
Okay. Is it the first season?
Yeah, right now I'm on the first season.
Okay. I think I'm going to check this out. It's always interesting to speak to other people because you get to learn new things. So today I've learned that there is Brooklyn Nine-Nine. It's really been well received. 97% on Rotten Tomatoes and the audience gave it 94%. That is as good as it gets. It's almost as good as Game of Thrones in terms of numbers. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. So grade 10, how is it different from like what you were studying last year? What are some of the challenges that you are experiencing?
It's different because we have like cycle tests on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So now we don't always have to write because you get like subjects that you chose, because I chose IT, biology, and physics. So in grade 9, you would just have natural science, which is like a division of chemistry, biology, and physics. So every term you would get 3 tests. But with physics and biology, those are like 2 separate subjects. So you just get 2. So definitely we have way less tests because like the whole of this week I'm not writing. And it's way harder, like 100 times harder. Because like it's way more studying. And with grade 9, like the teachers would like go step by step with you and everything. But grade 10, you're like on your own. You have to like make your own notes and everything. So that's like a big thing for me.
Gee. Okay, were you at the same school last year?
Yeah, same school.
Okay, same school, but it sounds like there's so much of a difference. Could it be that you've just started? So, I mean, school has been open for just over a month. Maybe it's possible that it's just too new, and maybe 2-3 months from now, you'll find it just as easy as grade 9, assuming grade 9 was, as you say, not as difficult.
Because in grade 9, we didn't have IT, like the computer subjects, IT and CAT. Now I have IT, and it's quite difficult. I mean, it's coding and everything.
Yeah, so you talk about IT, and within that you've got coding. I'm curious to just understand a bit more on what that is comprised of. So when you're doing coding, what does it look like? If you can describe it to someone like me who has never been exposed to such subjects.
Okay, so we're currently working on a program called Delphi. So like you have to make games and stuff, and like you obviously have to code for games. We've not really done a lot of coding, so I don't really like remember them right now. But like you have to code, like we have this one activity. It's like a circle in the middle of the page of the form, if you can call it that. And then you have to code so that whenever you press a button on the form, it changes the circle from red to yellow, and it changes the form from like creamish to blue. So then you have to like code all of that, and it's quite difficult so far, but yeah, it's actually quite fun. But it'd be better if you were like there so that we could like code together and explain everything.
Yeah, I'm trying to follow, but I mean, you're doing a great job explaining. All right, so grade 10 coding. So by the time you get to university, you will already understand the basic fundamentals or the principles of coding, which is really, really good. Yeah. All right. Yeah. As I said, Shalom, your parents must be really, really proud. I remember when I thought, we need to touch base with Shalom, and maybe this time we can talk to parents. They must be really proud of all the work that you do. Eh?
Yeah, they are actually. They're very proud.
All right. I mean, we're going to say goodbye. I don't know if there's anything else, Shalom, that you maybe want the listeners and your supporters and fans to know, maybe something new, or maybe you just want to leave them with some words of encouragement as you go through your own challenges. The listeners of the show will also be experiencing their own. Do you have anything you want to say just in closing?
Yeah. Okay. So first of all, I was actually thinking of this, but yeah, you might have like difficulties and everything, but like in everything you do, just trust God, because God has a plan. He made the whole universe and he made your life too. So just in everything you do, just know that it's all going to be okay. In the end, you're going to reach all your goals, and just never give up, actually, because there were some times that I wanted to give up, and I was like with all the auditions, there were some that I really that I didn't get. And I really thought, okay, maybe acting isn't for me. But then, yeah, I just got some encouragement, and also just like I told myself that I shouldn't give up, because if I gave up like way in the beginning, then I wouldn't have succeeded, and I wouldn't have gone this far, and I wouldn't have as many shows that I'm on and movies and stuff that I'm on. So yeah, just trust God and never give up, and just always stay positive, because there's always a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, if I can say that. So hard as it may be right now, it's all going to work out and it's all going to turn out for the good.
On that note, that's where we'll end it. Very wise words from our most downloaded voice, the voice of Shalom Nyandiko. Shalom from myself and the 1000 African Voices team. As always, we wish you all the very best as you go into grade 10 and all the challenges that it brings. May your end of, or the end of your rainbow have a pot of gold as well.
Thank you so much.
Lovely. Till next time, take care, yeah?
Thank you, you too. Bye-bye.
The next voice that you'll hear is that of Gciniwe Fakudze from eSwatini, formerly Swaziland. That is on the southern side of the African continent. I don't know what to say about Gciniwe that has not been said previously. She's someone who is a proud Mswati, a really proud Mswati, and she represents her people and her culture really, really well. I'll encourage you to just Google Gciniwe Fakudze. Anyway, Google, Instagram, try and find her. If you want to understand what a quintessential Swati person looks like, that is Gciniwe Fakudze. She is incredible. But perhaps above anything else, the one thing that she's really passionate about is her football team, Liverpool FC. And I suppose in the last 2-3 years, it's been really good going for Liverpool fans. So I thought maybe instead of just playing another song, the guest might appreciate being introduced or being ushered into this conversation by the following voices. The extract that you're about to hear was taken from the famous Istanbul comeback. I think Gciniwe and the Liverpool fans will know exactly what that is. So yeah, let's enjoy the voices of the Liverpool fans as we welcome Gciniwe Fakudze to the conversation.
Hi, how are we today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm amazing myself.
All right. Now, yeah, I thought it would be great to catch up. So we'll be, okay, at this point, I suppose we have done 100 episodes, or at least by the time the episode comes out. So I wanted to talk to a few people that have left sort of long-lasting or have made a long-lasting impact on either myself or our listeners. So when I thought of the top 5 people I would like to talk to and revisit, I thought it would be great to go to eSwatini one more time.
Oh, that's wonderful and humbling. And as always, the kingdom is king.
The kingdom is king. Your episode came out, I think you were the 37th voice. And to this day, it remains... It holds the record for the most downloads in one day. And most of those came from Southern Africa. And I remember within a 3-hour window, you had smashed the record. Like we had a standing record and suddenly we had Gciniwe 37th voice and the record was not only smashed, but you've held on to that for the last, I don't know how long it's been, over a year.
Oh, wow. That's truly humbling, hey? And I suppose what's even more interesting is that it was not necessarily a Mswati. So I guess the impact is there.
No, totally. I was talking to someone earlier and I said, I'm going to talk to Gciniwe tonight. And said, okay, tell me more about Gciniwe. So once I had explained, they had so many questions. There were questions on Swaziland. I had to say, no, it used to be that. It's now eSwatini. And they wanted they wanted to know more about you. So there are a few questions that I promised that I would ask. And the one question was, okay, if I find myself around eSwatini, what's there to do as a tourist?
Okay, well, it depends in what time of the year you visit the kingdom. But one of the things we rave about, and I think many tourists appreciate about the kingdom, is that it's mountainous and it has a beautiful and favorable weather right across the year. So you can go hiking, you can go camping, and we'll have wildlife. So basically you can do all those outdoorsy things that most people would want to do. But once again, speaking about the time of the year, right now in the kingdom that is celebrated for its culture, we are celebrating the Marula festival. So that is what most tourists are coming to the kingdom for. So the culture is intertwined into everything we do, but there's plenty to do, really. There's Visit eSwatini Tourism Authority. You can Google that. And really, whatever you desire to see, I believe you could find in the small kingdom.
All right. And for yourself personally, Gciniwe, I mean, since the last time we spoke, is there anything new that you want to share? I do follow you quite a bit on the different social media platforms. The one thing that stands out now, even back then when we spoke, was can never really get used to the number of clothing items that you seem to have. I've wondered how big your closet space is.
Well, that has not changed because I doubt you can change a lady in less than a year. Or I doubt you can stop a lady from loving fashion in less than a year. But what has changed? I don't think much. So one of the things that I'm focusing on these days is physical wellness. So I did say that I'm a football player. I am athletic. But I think when the corporate life took over, that sort of slowed down. So I'm back in gym. I have a 6-pack challenge. So yes, that's happening. But I find that as you grow older, you need to pick up habits that keep you active. So that's what's happening. So in picturesque eSwatini, I go cycling on the mountains. I do off-road riding. And yeah, I'm doing a whole lot of that these days. So you'll see a whole lot of that coming up as well.
Oh, no, lovely. I'm glad you're picking that up. Not only are you picking up the physical side of things, but to have a 6-pack challenge, most of us go through life not ever knowing what that looks like. I mean, you can go to the gym 5-6 times a week and still not get that.
It's a challenge. So I like when the last time we spoke, I believe that you can't have a broad target. Fitness is broad. So, and I think I am fit. I just need a 6-pack, There's something about having a 6-pack that says I've arrived for me. So that's what it is. And I'm giving myself another 2 more months.
2 more months. What have you really had to change maybe in your habits? Because I'm sure to get to 6-pack stage takes quite a bit of sacrifice.
Yeah, it does. So firstly, as a career woman who would typically get to the office at 7:30 in the morning and then leave at about 8, 9 in the evening, I now have to cut work later 6 o'clock so that I get to gym. So that's forcing me to bring in a work-life, wellness, social life balance. And that's for midweek. So weekends, I now go cycling. I must get out of the house. So I've had to sacrifice and create time because I think our greatest challenge is time. You only have 24 hours in a day. And if you don't squeeze it in and make time for it, it will never happen.
Yeah, I know. And you always think you can get to it the next day. And I've realized that even if you wake up not feeling like exercising, the best gift you can give yourself is to force yourself through the pain, because 30 minutes later, you're really glad that you made the decision, because otherwise we're always thinking that it will happen the next day without realizing that there is actually no next day. All we have is today. Yeah.
Yes, that's true. And I think it finds itself going throughout your life, procrastination, delaying, it becomes a theme genuinely. If you do it at work, you do it with school, you do it with. So I had to do gym, and I haven't proclaimed it yet on social media, but I'm proclaiming it because once you start speaking out loud your dreams, people hold you accountable and they remind you. It's the internalized ones that you can keep to yourself. It's the ones you share. Oh my God, people keep reminding you, where's that six pack? And you're like, no, well, it's coming. And people are like, Ella, you said 2 months. So
yes. These T-shirts where you'll find it's usually a gentleman who is, for lack of a better word, not in tip-top condition, and they'll go and pick a T-shirt written 6-pack coming soon. I always chuckle. It's nice. I suppose one has to aspire. So that's the proper declaration.
Absolutely. No, mine is proper. It's out there now. So I need to prove that I can deliver on it. And I suppose wellness is one of the key things. I think in the past year, I've seen a whole lot of young people die of silly diseases, and you stop and think, the lives we live, the careers we live, the food we eat, it's no longer as balanced as we'd like it to be. So this year I want to focus on my health, mentally, socially, emotionally, physically, and, generally the whole package.
And those who want to follow the journey of Gciniwe Fakudze, where can we find you? As I said, I do follow you quite a bit, but please let's remind our listeners how they can follow you on the different social media platforms.
Well, apart from visiting the beautiful kingdom, chances are you bump into us on the streets because it's a small kingdom with 1 million population. I suppose we can then use social media. I am on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. Still trying to get a hang of Twitter. Yeah, I'm getting there. But I'm available on all the social media pages. And I think that's where I want to track my journey because, I want to take a few people along as I do it.
And what do you mean by that?
As in, I suppose when you started your show, you took a few people along because some then started to work on their own dreams. I think when you share your dreams and you share what you're doing, you inspire some people and you take them along. So as I do my 2-month challenge, I also want to incentivize other women to do the same. So there's going to be a nice prize for the woman that gets there with me. So we're doing the 6-pack challenge together with others.
Once the 2 months is up, I'll be one of those people requesting for evidence so that we can share it with 1,000 African Voices listeners. So if you had pressure before we had this conversation, now you can be sure that around the world, and I'm referring to the 130 countries that do listen to the show, we will be looking out for the new and improved Gciniwe Fakudze.
Wow, thank you. No pressure, really. Thanks. Really, thank you. I didn't need it, but it's so wonderful to catch up. And I'm hoping that as your listeners were listening to all the stories of all the amazing men and women of Africa, we've been sharpening each other really, and sort of refocusing our energies and lighting our fires from those whose fires are not burning brighter. So I'm glad I was part of this show. I listened to some of the other interviews that you ran, and so inspiring. So thank you for the work that you do.
And thank you, as opposed to people like yourselves who not only volunteer to contribute to this project, but you really continue to be this shining light that Africa has always had. In 2020, we've got different media now to say to the world, like, hey, there's actually a different side to this beautiful continent that we call Africa. And the likes of Gciniwe Fakudze, in my opinion, you do more than just that. You really raising your hand up and saying, I am around eSwatini. I've got this beautiful country that I call home, but I'm also a proud African. So thank you. There's a lot for me to say, but in short, really thank you for being the person that you are and for your willingness to share your stories. And now, as opposed to share the 2-month challenge, there'll be 1 or 2 people out there who listen to that and want to join you. So don't be surprised to be tagged along your journey. as you get that 6.
Oh, wow. Now that would be wonderful. That would be wonderful.
All right. Gciniwe, thank you again for being part of this. There'll be 5 voices on this episode as we celebrate 100 voices. We started in October 2017. In Feb 2020, we're still going, and we do aim to get to 1,000 voices. So yeah, again, thank you.
And congratulations to you. And this Friday, I'm going to the second Marula Festival. I'm going to celebrate your success as well and celebrate the vision that you're driving. And we'll be here to support you all the way. We've got to get to 1,000 voices.
Absolutely. Anyway, we'll see you. Maybe send details on the Marula Festival. It sounds like something we all need to be part of. So do share your details. When the episode comes out, we will include all the details and we can be part of the celebrations as well.
No, absolutely. I will make sure I do, because where I come from, you never walk alone. I had to throw that in there. Sorry. You never walk alone. I just had to throw it in. So yeah, we should all walk together as we move to the 1,000 episodes.
Okay, let's get it out of the way. So you're running away with the league. You are, the last time I checked, it was 21 points. I'm sure now it's a bit more. I'm sure now you're starting to believe there's no way you can throw this one away. There's no Steven Gerrard now to slip and give it away.
My friend, you are smart. My friend, you are wiser than your age. You can see into the present future. We have arrived. Arrived.
It has been such a pleasure to watch the rebuilding of a sleeping giant into one that now teams fear. I mean, you haven't lost all season, one draw. I don't know which team last did that. I know when Arsenal did not lose, they had a lot of draws. You guys are doing it without dropping any points. How are you managing that?
No, honestly, you must listen to the coach and the manager. Really, he's built a team. In fact, this is a lesson that transcends all else in the business world, in church, in society, in communities, NGOs. Team is everything. You know, you build a team and you psych people up to believe that they can do it. I genuinely believe that they can do it. I don't think there's anything you can say to these players right now that would make them think otherwise. I mean, they know it. You even see them walking onto the field. So for me, as I lead my team every day, I know it sounds like a cliche, but I keep saying I wish I could inspire people to the point that he has inspired them to be individually and as a team. So, yeah, it's an amazing story. It's an amazing story.
I mean, this year or in 2019, Charlie finished an a biography of Yegon. It's inspirational what he has managed to achieve, humble beginnings to now being one of the top managers in the world. And I suppose the cherry on top with Liverpool is the superstars that are shining, the likes of Sadio Mane, Mohamed Salah.
Sadio Mane.
What Africa is about, yeah?
My friend, that is what it's all about. And when you see how humble they are, so I can't get over articles you read about Sadio Mane, how humble the man is. It just makes you think that genuinely and honestly, some of us are carrying a big head for nothing. We have accomplished nothing, but look at us carrying a huge head. And then you find people like Sadio Mane, who the world knows. Every child knows him. Every woman, man, young or old, rich or poor. You say Sadio Mane, they know him. But the man has remained humble. And in everything, he keeps saying, my people, my people, my people. So I'm humbled. I mean, I'm happy to have lived in this era. My father Barnes and wore jersey number 10, and my father has passed. But if he were here, he would tell you we chose the right team. So yeah, it's a story.
Yeah.
It's a story. So,
I suppose that
my friend.
30 years of trying, at some point you were statistically going to win, eh?
You had to go there, right?
Okay.
You had to go there.
Let me not spoil the party.
So the line I always give to people that say that, though, is you are fulfilling a biblical testimony in a word, because people will generally always remind you of the failures you've had when you are succeeding. You know, when people say, is that the son of, like in the Bible, when David was going to face Goliath, they kept saying, is that the son of Jesse? the poor man, the farmer? Is that the boy? So people will always do that when they know you are sitting at the king's table. They will always try to remind you that isn't that the same team? And then we will say, yes, it is. Yes, it is the same team, my friend. Yes, so I could talk for days about my team, but man, we are happy. 30 years coming.
Agreed. And I mean, just based on that response, it's clear that you've had enough time to really practice that. Okay, I really need to let this one go. I'm an Arsenal fan and we're not really doing well. So I'm allowed to.
You are so sad and bitter, hey.
No, totally.
But you are next, my friend. You can come up next. You are where are you sitting on the log? Let's see. Oh my word! Now let's not lie to you.
Yeah, maybe let's not.
At 10. Yeah, no, my friend. Let's leave it.
Let us leave then on that note.
Let's leave it on that note.
Yeah, we will. I suppose you'll actually win it in March. You don't have to wait for May. So you should win it in March. Hopefully it will be a home game. I never like it when a team dominates and then you go and play Watford and that's where you win the league. It's sort of, it doesn't feel as great as winning it at Anfield. So
I know.
Hey. The best. Yeah.
It should be. I'm praying it. Yeah. Thank you, my friend. When we raise the trophy, I'll call you.
Oh, yes, absolutely. If you don't call me, I'll definitely send you some quotes. I'm sure it's always fun to follow on Twitter. But yeah, on a serious note, to watch a team go all season without losing a game, that is unbelievable.
No.
So yeah, well done.
No, it's unbelievable. Thank you very much. It's unbelievable. 25 wins, 1 draw, my friend. 25 points ahead of Man City. I mean, really, we've broken every record break, so we're good. We're good.
Whose song is that? Like, what more can I say? There's really nothing more to be said.
There's nothing more, my friend. The testimony is complete.
Agreed. Anyway, Gciniwe Fakudze from eSwatini, the beautiful kingdom. It's been a pleasure. Well, as we always do, we'll stay in touch and hopefully we'll get to celebrate 200 voices. But otherwise, we'll see you out there. YNWA, you will never walk alone. Take care, Gciniwe.
Thank you. Thank you so much. God bless you and may all your plans and dreams come true in 2020. Thank you.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.
All right. That was Gciniwe Fakudze. You are going to continue to hear her voice as we continue to build what is becoming quite a representative database of African voices. So Gciniwe has become a friend of the show and you will hear her voice. She will be co-hosting some of the episodes. So the last voice that we spoke to is again from Kenya, a friend of the show from the mobilejournalism.co.ke website, Emmanuel Yegon. I again encourage you to go and check out his work because what they're doing is incredible. It's really the same philosophy. People who want to present a different Africa and do it in their own way and on their own terms. So without further ado, I would like to introduce back to the show Emmanuel Yegon from Nairobi, Kenya. Just in the spirit of celebrating 100 voices on 1,000 African voices, we are continuing our discussion with our favorite voices from the last 2.5 years. The only voice that we've ever had twice on this show is that of the storyteller himself, Mr. Emmanuel Yegon, all the way from Nairobi, Kenya. Hi, Emmanuel.
Hi, Aburengwi. How are you?
Not doing great. How are you?
I'm also doing fine, thank you.
Cool. Manuel, I thought it would be great to have you on the show, just maybe to reflect a bit on 1,000 African voices. As I said, you're the only voice that we've had twice. I think the last time you were on, we were celebrating, 50 or 75, I can't recall. But for me, become that constant voice that when I think of someone who is trying to do something great on the continent within the digital landscape, your name always comes up. How are things going?
Thank you, Avu. We are continuing to push forward with the work that we started. And yeah, we have great plans for this year and the years to come. We are hoping that everything will go fine, but we are putting in the work to ensure that we work towards changing how Africa's narrative is told. And so right now we are just in the process of getting into as many training sessions as possible, getting as many young people to learn how to create content, to tell stories using their smartphones.
And I mean, it's one thing to have an idea and try and implement it, but to keep it going is quite another. I mean, having done 100 voices now, I have a good idea of what it takes to persist. For you on your side, do you have challenges when it comes to finding the motivation to continue to take these stories to the rest of the continent?
Of course, in any craft that you are into, are challenges, and we've had our fair share of challenges. But you see, the dream that we have is that of a different way in which Africa's narrative is told, a different way in which Africa in general is told. And so each and every morning we wake up wanting to just move an inch closer each and every day towards achieving that. So it could be through trainings, doing that physically, or even virtually, online, and doing a lot of tutorials here and there, reaching out to people. That one has its own challenges. It comes with different challenges because then, again, if you have to get to a physical location, for instance, and, it's a startup, it's a media startup, and we are operating in this digital space. So one, you have to know where to draw the balance between the financing model. Where do you get the money? How do you do the stories? And all the while trying to maintain some sort of balance as a storyteller. So in as much as we have all these challenges, we remain true to the call that we have. We remain true to the cause that we have and the mission that we want to achieve as a young team that is growing and reaching out to as many parts of this continent as possible.
No, totally agree. I mean, as you talking, Emmanuel, on the mobilejournalism.co.ke website, looking at I think it's an updated logo. It looks beautiful. There's a map of Africa, a smartphone.
Yes.
It says Mobile Journalism Africa. Our stories are best told by us. And I suppose from the beginning, between you and I, we've always, in a way, acknowledged that we pursuing the same goal in a way of connecting Africans through storytelling. So at 1,000 African Voices, we do that through interviews, and you have a slightly different approach, but the big picture for me is similar. Yeah?
Yes, I agree. I totally agree with you.
All right, and how is it going? I mean, growth-wise, are you finding that there is some growth? And I understand, as you said earlier, that it is currently a startup, but how are you finding the growth?
Well, on the 18th of January, we turned 2, and that's why you saw the rebrand. I think the logo in itself carries the message that we want to reach out there to all people in Africa, that we want to change how Africa's narrative is told. And we've had a wonderful 2 years so far, I can say, and we've registered immense growth. We have trained more and we continue to train more. And apart from that as well, we are getting very many people interested in this, from universities to even organizations, even the media, mainstream media itself. We've even trained some journalists from a media house here in Nairobi. And as well, in terms of partners, we have gotten even some partners from South Africa and there's another mobile journalism startup in Pakistan. So we're just trying to see how we can work together to grow this space and just create a network of mobile journalists in Africa.
I mean, I look forward to the day when I'll be able to say, gee, look at the mobilejournalism.co.ke, look at how big they've become, look at the influence and the impact they are having on the continent. And on that day, I'll be proud to say Emmanuel Yegon was one of our 1,000 African voices. I mean, for us, as we move into the 101st voice, what we intend to do is to change the focus, albeit slightly, and move more to unpacking what the fourth industrial revolution means for the African continent. So we will continue to talk to different voices from all parts of Africa, but there will be a specific focus on what the fourth industrial revolution means. And the work that you're doing, Emmanuel, for me is smack bang in the middle of what the fourth industrial revolution is about. So that's why I wanted to talk to you first about the time you came on, but I think more importantly, focusing on the work that you're doing and how that resonates with where we as 1,000 African Voices want to go. We are going to unpack what the fourth industrial revolution means for our continent.
Okay, I think that is a good transition, Abu, and congratulations for hitting 100 voices. And I think with that progression, now that you are trying to kind of focus on one thing, moving from 100, I think, to 200 voices. Also interested in just seeing how we can then work together now that we have kind of the same overall goal. Like the end goal is just almost similar between 1,000 African Voices and Mobile Journalism Africa. And yes, there are a lot of possibilities for us with the fourth revolution, the fourth industrial revolution. So, I'm open to seeing what opportunities lie. And you see, with the fact that we are having 5G, I don't know how long it will take to roll that out, but I'm interested to see how we can then harness that to build even stronger communities online.
You see, the issue that you've just raised now, that of 5G connectivity, those are some of the things that we must unpack. We know that through the Huawei organization, China is leading the world when it comes to the rolling out of 5G. In Africa, I know there are a few companies that are now in the process of rolling that out, but it will really be fascinating to understand what it means for our continent. So that's a typical question that we will try and unpack. So to our listeners, do stay tuned to 1,000 African Voices as we now move from 101 to 200. And let's see how it goes. And hopefully you'll enjoy the ride. It's been great having you as the listeners, but it's been fun talking to the likes of yourself, Emmanuel. I've thoroughly enjoyed the first 100 voices. So thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you for also considering me to be among the 5 voices you said. Thank you so much. And I look forward to more collaboration, like I said, when we were doing the special edition.
Awesome, Emmanuel. When I find myself in Nairobi, it's 2020, so I'll definitely make a turn to Nairobi. It does remain one of my favorite cities of basically anywhere in the world. So when I make a turn, I'll reach out and then we can continue the conversation. But for now, from myself, Abu Rengwi, it's really been a pleasure. We'll stay in touch as we always do. So Emmanuel, take care and all the best to mobilejournalism.co.ke and yourself as well.
All right. Thank you so much. And I wish you the very best and also 1,000 African Voices. I want to see it grow into the biggest podcast we have in Africa.
Thank you. On that note, take care, Emmanuel. We'll talk.
Okay, bye.
Cheers.
So what have you been up to since, say, Jan 2018? What has Mawaka-Smith been up to?
That's exactly 2 years ago. Wow. A lot has happened. From our last interview, I probably said a lot, and I've probably achieved 95% of that. I'm still not yet a pilot, which is rather disappointing. After we spoke, I literally...
How far are you with that?
That's a very expensive hobby. So I'll say I am a third away.
A third away. Wow. No, that is good progress, eh?
It's progress expensive? Whatsoever. Yeah.
What's expensive? Is it the lessons?
Yeah, the lessons are very expensive. And also the time. It's time consuming because it is very... you have to have the knowledge. The last thing you want is to be up there, 10,000 meters, and you just don't know the basics, And then there's the exams, something which I'm not looking forward to, but something I'll have to conquer. So yeah, and then at the same time, you still try and do your other projects on the side, and still trying to do the average 9-to-5 job as well. So there's a lot going on.
So you do the 9-to-5. I assume you're still continuing as a speaker. Then on top of that, run your foundation, Lenoir Foundation.
Yes, I work as a project manager for the National Health Service here, and then after 6 p.m. till 2 a.m., I do my projects and do what needs to be done for Lenoir Foundation. So yeah.
What time do you get up then?
8.
That's not bad.
It's a bit lazy to get up at 8.
No, it's not lazy if you are going to bed at 2 and waking up at 8. I mean, last night, for instance, I went to bed at 2:30, and I woke up at 9:30. So I think it depends on how you spent the previous night. I mean, if you were sleeping at 8 p.m. and waking up at 8, that's a different conversation.
Oh, yeah. And also, since we last spoke, that year, I began writing my first book, which was something that really, it was always in the back of my mind, but I always didn't look at myself as a writer. I knew I was a creative, but not a writer. So I don't know why I defined myself as that. So I took on the challenge to actually write a book. And having gone through that, writing the book, doing the research and publishing, I have so much respect for anyone that has published a book, because I now know what level of hard work is required to doing that. The research itself is hours and hours. And then when you actually launch the book, it might not do as well as you'd wanted. But what you realize in the process is that actually the knowledge you gain and the work ethic that you gain from just doing that is worth more than actually selling 100 copies or 200 copies of your book.
Have you published the book, or are you still working on it, or is it already out?
The book is already out. It's available on Amazon. It's available on most stores in Europe and Northern America. I'm not sure how to publish it to be available in Africa. So that's something I'm looking for, a different publisher in Africa that can do that. But the book has been out for 11 months now.
Oh, wow. And how is it going?
It's brilliant. It was received very well. The book is called Business Impact Brand. It's really a bit about my journey into building Lenoir Foundation. And then it also acts and serves as a step-by-step guide on how to start your own social enterprise. So,
how long did it take you to put it together? And the reason I ask is I see these prolific authors coming up with new books every 2 years or so. How long did it take you?
For me, the book took me, I'll say a year. Yeah, a year.
Wow, that is fast, eh?
Yeah. It's the same thing again. You finish work at 6, and then between 6 to 2 p.m., you tackle whatever project you're tackling. So I was putting in more than 50 hours a week on the book. That is a lot. If you're an author and you do this full time and it takes you 2 years, obviously it depends on the topic you're writing on, but this is a topic I'm passionate about, topic I've researched way before I even thought about writing the book. So hence it took me a year. But if I were to say, hey, I'm going to write a book about sociology, it'll probably take me 5 years.
Jay, why is it important for you to be an author? Why did you feel the need to do something like that?
Every day I would receive messages on my Facebook or my Instagram say, hey, how did you tackle this? How did you tackle funding for your foundation? Hey, how did you do the branding? So every day I would receive these questions from different people on different social media platforms. And as much as it's flattering and great, it just got to a point where I realized that, hey, I have this knowledge. Maybe I should just put it together and just have it out there. Originally, I thought I would just do an ebook so that if anyone asks me a question, I just direct them to an ebook where they can just download the whole PDF and just have all the answers. But I thought, well, that's a bit half-hearted. Why don't I just go through the whole process of actually publishing a physical book? Because not only will I be giving out the knowledge which I've gathered over the years, but it will also tackle my limiting belief that I am not a writer. So it helped me a lot both ways.
I like how you're saying an ebook is half-hearted. I had not thought of it from that perspective, but the moment you said it, you're actually right that there is a difference between putting together an ebook versus an actual book. I mean, the quality is quite different. It's still amazing that in 2020, you can publish a book and it will be made available in some parts of the world and not in others. I still don't understand that. And maybe you haven't gone through the process. Maybe you have a better appreciation of why such is the case.
It's amazing and frustrating at the same time, because when I wrote my book, I imagined my audience really to be in Africa. I just imagined the average person in Europe can just go on Google or their local government office and find out how I can get funding. But I just wanted like the average kid in Africa to say, hey, this guy was just like me. He just got an opportunity to live in a first world country, but he's doing this for these people. So I really wanted my story in that book to be read by, an African kid somewhere, to realize that your beginnings don't really define your ending, And the fact that I couldn't publish it in Africa in the beginning was very frustrating, because I thought that, you can publish it on Amazon, it's available worldwide, but the average person in Africa doesn't buy their books on Amazon, 90% of the people here. So I did try and get in contact with some publishers in Africa, but if you're a beginner author like myself, you don't have that credibility and that marketing machine to make them believe that, they should take on your book because it'll sell. It's very frustrating. So initially I thought, okay, I will release the book, but what I really want to do is also travel. My first step is to travel to South Africa and maybe have 6 stops at different universities, just talking about the book and actually issuing it out to people. And then hopefully when I generate that buzz, hopefully publishers in Southern Africa can take me seriously. But it's really frustrating that, we don't have that ability right now to be able to publish the book worldwide.
And what needs to change the book is there. What needs to happen for us to have access to the book?
We need to own our own bookshops. We need to own our own publishing companies. I know that I can release the book in, like I said, as a PDF and send it to people via email. But once again, that's shortchanging again. We need to start having ownership. I know maybe it's not cool to be a publisher. Everyone wants to be a doctor or something great. But, if you have a passion for books and you live somewhere in Pretoria or something, try and open your own bookshop and then, start your own little publishing company, have workshops for writing, help other writers write their own books, and you publish their books, local people's books. Everyone has a story. So it's ownership that needs to change.
I'm imagining Mawaka-Smith 4 or 5 years from now, giving an interview on why you decided to open your own publishing house. And as many inventors or founders who say, they usually have the same story, that I was so frustrated that as an African, I wrote a book. I wanted that book to be available in Africa, only to discover that it wasn't. So I decided to do it myself. So that would be a good story, yeah?
That is definitely possible, because the frustration is immense. It's very frustrating. And I think that's a problem that definitely needs solving.
No, totally agreed. Anyway, Jay, it's really been good catching up. I mean, good luck with the piloting license. I suppose you can be forgiven if what you were doing instead was to write a book. I mean, to do that in a year, that's amazing. But I do wish you well as you still go about wanting to achieve your goal of being a pilot, amongst other things. So once again, from the 1000 African Voices team, it's really been a pleasure getting to know the person that you are. And I suppose from time to time, it will be great to just continue to check in as we watch your progress. So yeah, thanks, Jay.
I appreciate you and your show. What you're doing is really helping a lot of people, and it's really something we need to keep pushing and put it on more platforms and share it. I appreciate your time.
Awesome. Take care, Jay.
Thanks, man.
1000 African Voices.
You've been listening to 1000 African Voices. Please join us next time as we bring you another African voice. 1000 African Voices is produced by me, Aburengwi. Witumelo Muneedi is the show's co-host and writer, with Sam Garnich on sound production. Our head researcher is Jones Maleka. And lastly, Gciniwe Fakudze is our guest co-host and a friend of the show. For more information, including the contact details of our guests, visit us on our website, 1000africanvoices.com. You can also subscribe to our show on iTunes by searching for 1000 African Voices. Please help us grow the project by logging on to 1000africanvoices.com to subscribe. If you wish to form part of the show, send an email to jonesforchange@gmail.com. Until next time, Kungana Africa, and take care.